There's been an extraordinary revelation from the US Centre for Disease Control. The number of Americans with coronavirus is likely to be 10 times the official number. But the President has made a bold prediction for next year, declaring it will be, quote, phenomenal.
The President and First Lady pay their respects, today marking 70 years since the Korean War's bloody beginning. A solemn start to the day for a president under pressure. Months from the election, he's trailing behind Joe Biden in 6 key battleground states that he won in 2016.
Thank you, Lee Greenwood. Thank you very much.
And so his next stop was one of them, Wisconsin.
And we're going to have a phenomenal next year. You'll see.
Calls are coming amid other shocking reports out of North Carolina, where 3 officers in Wilmington were just fired after a supervisor discovered a nearly 2-hour-long rant with racist statements and threats. It was apparently accidentally recorded, a patrol car camera capturing one of the officers saying the country needed a, quote, civil war to, quote, wipe black people, quote, off the map. An officer also talked about, quote, slaughtering people based on their race. The officers also used racial slurs that we will not note or repeat in our broadcast. Now, Wilmington's police chief, a black American who actually is in his first week on the job, responding by saying this.
When I first learned of these conversations, I was shocked, saddened, and disgusted.
French President Emmanuel Macron is due to host a video conference with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, and the security situation in Libya will be at the top of the agenda. The North African nation is less than 2,000 kilometers away from continental Europe. It's become a bloody battleground for a number of players vying for power in the oil-rich country. One of them is Fayez al-Sarraj, who leads the UN-installed government in Tripoli. On the other side is military strongman Khalifa Haftar, a rebel general who now controls 2/3 of the country, including Libya's oil fields. So far, his attempts to take control of the capital have failed.
Notorious Mexican drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's home state saw more violence on Thursday. Crime-plagued Sinaloa saw 2 armed attacks. 16 people were killed. Security forces found the bodies of 7 supposed cartel hitmen on a dirt road, strewn next to a bullet-riddled pickup truck. They appeared to be the victims of a shootout. A separate attack on a small town saw another 9 fatalities. The area is the stamping ground of El Chapo's Sinaloa cartel, which often engages in deadly battles for territory with rival drug gangs. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador assumed the presidency in December 2018. He pledged to pacify the country with a less confrontational approach to security. But violence has continued to rise, and murders hit an all-time peak last year.
South Korean President Moon Jae-in has called on North Korea to join in a bold move to formally end the Korean War. And that was from his commemorative speech to mark the 70th anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War on Thursday. President Moon also stressed that the two Koreas' competition over political and economic systems ended a long time ago, and that South Korea has no intention to force its systems on the North. And rather than pushing for denuclearization, Moon asked for peaceful coexistence, saying he hopes that the two Koreas can become friendly neighbors first. There was also a welcoming ceremony for the 147 remains of South Korean troops returning from Hawaii, where family members of the fallen soldiers were invited.
South Africa could have a scarcity of maize because of a diesel shortage. Local fuel producers say there's been a sharp increase in demand over months of lockdown, and they claim it caught them by surprise.
Yes, we've engaged with SAPIA, the South African Petroleum Industry Association, now on 3 occasions, and there are various reasons that are provided for the scarcity, anything from the pipeline being vandalized and theft from the pipeline to the ships that can't offload the fuel that's on them and be piped up into the interior, and congestion in Durban Harbour. And various other reasons as well, and especially the refineries that all closed at one stage during the lockdown.
Virgin Australia has found a buyer. The airline is set to be purchased by Bain Capital, an American investment group founded in part by US Senator Mitt Romney. The deal will save Virgin from the brink of collapse, ensuring Qantas has a domestic competitor, keeping ticket prices in check. Christy Mayer reports.
Well, earlier today it looked like negotiations for Virgin's future had stalled, with Cyrus Capital announcing it was withdrawing its bid. But just hours later, Bain Capital announced it has bought Virgin Australia. The deal comes after months of uncertainty following Virgin's entry into voluntary administration back in April. Under the agreement of sale, Bain has promised to keep as many Virgin jobs as possible and honour staff entitlements.
There have been at least 10 plane crashes in Pakistan in the past 17 years. Preliminary investigations suggest the crash in May was caused by human error. Investigators found the pilots were discussing the coronavirus pandemic minutes before attempting to land and reportedly ignored instructions by the air traffic controller. The investigation also cast doubts over pilot training. Licensing too has come under the spotlight after the aviation minister revealed nearly 1 in 3 of Pakistan's pilots could have acquired licenses through fraud. 150 pilots have been grounded immediately and inquiries initiated against the rest. The Supreme Court has asked the Civil Aviation Authority to clarify the situation within 2 weeks.